Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
All right, we're live.
We are live. Chuck is coming to us from Las Vegas, I believe. No confirmation.
There you go.
Chuck is driving. Yes, we're here. You there, Chuck?
All right.
Well, this is the most awkward Entreprogrammers intro ever.
So what? I guess we might as well just get right into it. So So the big news is I'm leaving Simple Programmer. Well, not quite. Not quite. We were just discussing this morning. I'm taking a hiatus from the day-to-day operation and going to be still doing YouTube videos, but basically not doing any new projects and kind of moving out. I guess we could say I'm moving out of the CEO role, and Josh is taking on the CEO role potentially. So.
Heaven help me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually, Lisa pointed out that this is very ironic because the very first business discussion John and I ever had was John saying, "Hey, Josh, you want to be president of Simple Programmer?" And I said, "No." So we've kind of come full circle. We've come full circle to that.
Yeah.
It was about 3 years ago. So 2.5.
That's how long I've been trying to escape, apparently.
Yep.
So. But we've made some great strides in the process. We've got the revenue to more than triple what it was, and so. But yeah, no, I just got to the point where I've been hitting it hard for such a long time, like what I'd say grinding it out, just and my heart's not really into it, and I've been pouring out all my inspiration. I don't have new inspiration. And I've been living on the tick-tock of the Pomodoro clock for too long. So I just want to take some time and get away from having to have a set, just having the pressure of it all and kind of just maybe do some other things. Just take it easy for a while. And then see where I'm at. And I just really I'm so disconnected from software development and programming world now that it's just I have to fake it to talk about that stuff because I'm just so disconnected from it, So.
Okay, now Chuck is sideways and huge.
Hello. Sorry.
That's all right.
I think I'm just going to sit out here. I probably get better reception than I will in the hotel.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, that's and this has been coming for a while. I think what kind of finally made the decision for me was I would go through these bouts, and then I would basically push through, knowing that in a week or so I'll feel better, and I did, and I usually did. But then the amount of better that I felt was declining every time, and the length of time that I felt better was shortening. Mm-hmm. So after this time, I was like, man, I even pushed through this stint, and it's just it's not getting better. So I have to, that's I think there's a distinction between too many people are giver-uppers and they don't push through the pain, and they don't know how to push through when they don't have motivation, but when you repeatedly get into that after you've pushed through, then it's an indicator that you need to change up what you're doing because it's not what you should be doing. So that's kind of where
I know how that goes.
Yeah, John and I had a talk about it yesterday, and I've really kind of sensed that he's kind of disconnected. Really, after we got the book launch, it was like the marathoner's dying lunge across the finish
Yeah.
We got the book launched, and then John was gone in Europe for a while, and then, ever since then it's just kind of been like I just haven't really sensed any real enthusiasm, or there's like no spark, and so yeah, so it wasn't really a surprise, and it's actually kind of funny because I've been actually thinking a lot about this myself, like in the last few weeks, and just kind of like reevaluating like what we're like our plans for 2018, and really, holy roof, Chuck, Chuck, your roof looks
What?
like your roof looks like a T-Rex. Was it after you?
Oh, in my car?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming apart.
But
That
yeah,
better?
so it's there you go. Yeah, but it's been something that I've been thinking a lot about too. And it's funny because like I actually, when we were talking yesterday, we initially were talking about something else, and I was like, yeah, I've been kind of thinking about whether we want to really, like, what if we just, instead of pushing forward with all the stuff we've planned for 2018, just sort of like really polished up, kind of finished up the stuff that we have open right now, and just sort of put it on cruise control. And John was like, funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So, but I've actually been thinking a lot about it since yesterday, and I could see, so like as far as what's next for me, I could see a couple different paths, and one of them is basically we take Simple Programmer, and which has been growing. Like last year, we just went through our books. Last year we grew 92%, like revenue wise.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing is that doesn't even really capture the whole picture, because most of the like a lot of that revenue was delayed till the third quarter. So I think if we'd, or sorry, the fourth quarter of the year. So I think if we had our fourth quarter revenue like all during last year, we would have probably grown like 300%.
Yeah.
Right.
So so we're growing really fast, but so we could a couple things that I could do here. One would be John and I just sort of button things down. I keep doing the like daily emails. I keep doing some affiliate offers and everything, and it basically just motors along, and our revenue probably would stay pretty flat. But it would actually be, I mean, for both of us, it would be, a multiple six-figure income at this point, if we did that. And if I did that, like my goal would be to try to get it down to where I'm working like 10 to 20 hours a week on it, and then probably do some consulting or something. Like I think, putting myself out there as a marketing consultant would be a lot of fun. So that's one option I've been thinking about. The other option is, what if I take Simple Programmer and we over time kind of reshape it into core focus on soft skills for software developers, bring in other experts. And I think if I did that, I could gradually sort of replace John in the business as the front man. And if we did that, like, I think I could really grow the business. So, at that point, I think we'd be thinking like, can we make this a multi-million-dollar business? And I think the answer is yes. We've just like John's been sort of like, his interest in the software development and soft skills has been kind of waning, and he's been getting, but I've actually continued to want to push in that direction, because I think we own soft skills for software developers now, and I think we could really, really own it.
Yeah.
In 3 to 5 years, with if we stay focused on that. So John's been sort of torn because he's a lot more interested in the personal development stuff. I'm kind of like, I'm actually more interested in the soft skills, like career focused stuff for software developers. And so we've been kind of straddling both lanes. So I'm really heavily weighing just kind of carrying forward on my own here. I mean, John will still be involved, but really sort of trying to shape it into more of like a multi-author multi-expert type of platform. And it's actually the thought of doing that is actually really, really energizing for me. Because if I wasn't, I've realized the biggest thing I've learned through all of this, working with John, I think, about myself is that I'm not a starter. Like John really enjoys, I think, taking things from zero and grinding and getting them up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And I like taking it from that point. And I told John, I like steering a rocket ship. That's like where I really enjoy. It's like I like somebody else to kind of get the momentum going and then just directing it from there. And this would be that, like I've already been doing that. I really have been enjoying it. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but I'm kind of leaning toward that direction.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I see some parallels with what you're doing and what I'm doing. I mean, I've decided basically that my product, or my next product, so to speak, it's not something that I'm actually going to be selling to people, but it's here's how you do all the things that we do, right? And so it's the manual for running my business. And it may turn into here's how you do a podcast, and another product that's like here's how you put on an online conference. But ultimately, yeah, it's the same kind of thing, right? And I totally understand where John's coming from, because I'm I get burned out and I push through the pain, and then I come back out of it, and and I get a slight reprieve, and yeah, the reprieves are getting shorter and less reprieve-y. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I totally get that. But I don't have a Josh to push stuff to that's interested in, making some of this stuff continue to click along. So I have to do it on my own. And so, yeah, but it is the same kind of thing, right? It's getting all the systems in place and figuring out what we're doing next and doing all those things so that things can succeed. I'm curious with you guys' stuff. I mean, how much of it do you have specified as far as here's how we do what we do?
Like how much processes do we have in place? Like operating procedures.
I would say,
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say, most of it, I think. I mean, some of it's not like completely formally documented, but I mean, the reason why, like, one of the things that we really did well with Simple Programmer, the reason why we can even consider these kind of things is because we built Simple Programmer on systems. Everything is a system, right? So, like, everyone who worked for Simple Programmer, they don't need to be told what to do. We don't even have to have status meetings, because it's just a system, and they know exactly the inputs and who to connect with, and it just runs.
Right.
So everything from the blog posts, it's pretty much automated, to the YouTube videos, to most of the stuff that we do is I would say systematic. So
right, yeah,
essentially. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of some of the stuff that John and I do isn't systematized really, because we're sort of developing the systems.
Yeah,
we're the ones that so. But I mean, like even down to the affiliate launches that I've been doing, those are, I'm getting to the point now with those where they're fairly, I know pretty much what all the inputs are going to be, and so it's getting that's getting to the point where I could systematize it.
Right. Yeah, and I just keep thinking, I mean, how much time does that take off your plate? Can you get it to the point where things are so systematized that you're just, you're checking in on it a day or so a week, and the rest of the week's yours?
I would probably, so if I think John's there, like we basically, I mean, when John has been away a lot the last 6 months, and I've basically handled a lot of it. Either, like there's been basically, John, probably, what would you say? Probably like 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 emails that you get, maybe you get flagged on. But I mean, some of that stuff that I could make a decision if we just decided that I was the decider.
Right.
So,
and I mean, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. And then, there's a lot, like a lot of the stuff that I work on day to day is actually new stuff. So if we stop trying to do new things, then yeah, I think, and I just, if all I did was basically, I could get it to the point where I was just writing emails every day. Like I'd do a daily email to the list and work, negotiate affiliate offers, and we could probably run it like $60,000 to $65,000 a month in revenue consistently.
And if we were just gonna just go on complete autopilot, right? Like if I were just walking away, from the thing, we could essentially go down to the only staff that we'd have. Well, we don't even have to have any. We could completely eliminate all staff and just have our existing funnels in place and our existing traffic to the blog and YouTube, and we would just continue to generate and book sales. It's all completely automated, right? So, we would basically maybe just like a couple hours a week to answer a couple of emails, like for refunds or whatnot, customer service. And then we could probably still do, I don't know, probably 30K a month in revenue, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we'd start around 40, and then it would just sort of drop off.
Yeah.
Month after month, slowly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, kind of where you're at. I could also see, I mean, if you wanted to maintain the status quo, so to speak, and let John pull back, then you have to have other personalities come in and replace some of the content he's creating. Which it sounds like those are kind of the options you're looking at. I guess the other question is my issue is looking at your situation. I'm thinking, okay, well, a lot of times I see a new option like this, right? And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to free up this time to do this or that, or, I'm going to be able to back off and relax a little bit more. And that all sounds really, really great. And then I get a few weeks or a month into it and realize that I absolutely hate what I did. And so I'm wondering too, if you guys are going to be happy if you change it up with this kind of thing one way or the other.
Well, I know for me, I was kind of like, I've been shooting towards a goal I've been running a longer sprint than it even appears, because even before this, I was investing in real estate, right? And that was like my part-time job after work, and that was a lot of work, Right. So I've been running towards this goal, and then when I hit the goal, I was like, let's just keep running, and I kept running, and you know what I mean. I never really enjoyed the goal of having my time and being retired. I mean, even though I go on some trips and stuff, that's it's not the same when you've got something hanging over you still, and so for me, it's I just need to do, and part of the reason why I haven't done it, why I haven't just, is because of a fear of loss, right? It's you've built this empire, you've built this thing. If I stop, going, will I lose this? Will I lose the momentum? Will I lose these?
Right.
So, so for me, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, well, there's two major themes in my life for 2018 so far. That one is simplification. I'm trying to simplify things. I just spent the last couple of days getting rid of 50% of what I own in my office and closet. So, and then the second one is getting over the fear of loss, right? Because that's the one thing I recognized. I was like, I'm motivated by the fear of loss, which is no good. So yeah, so for me, from my perspective, again, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do something in the future or come back and do some more simple programmer stuff or start a new business venture, but I need to have that freedom that I work so hard to earn, and to actually allow myself to have it. Before, it was circumstances and other people that were preventing my freedom, but then I became my own. I created my own prison when I don't need to, right? It's kind of silly. So, so, and again, I think from that freedom, maybe, I can be creative again, and more stuff will come out of that. So I'm pretty confident at this point, and this is also something that ever since we started Entre Programmers, I've had these kind of discussions, right? Like,
Right.
you know, so this is something I've thought about long and hard for a long, long, long time. It's not something for me that I'm like, oh, you know what? I just having a bad week. Fuck this shit. I'm done. It's something that I'm pretty sure that I'm good to go with. So
we've done that about 20 times over the last 3 years.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I guess what I'm driving at is, you know, have you thought about just working things out so that in a month or so you could take a 6-month sabbatical or something, and then just see how that, you know, see where that puts you, right? And then you can decide at that point, you know what, I really like where I'm at, and I'm going to stay sabbaticalized or whatever, you know, I'm going to retire. Or you can say, you know what, I really miss doing this, this, and this in particular with the business. And then you can come back in those capacities, and, you know, you're fully aware that everything else is taken care of because you haven't been in the middle of it for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of sort of what I'm doing to some degree, right? If you think about it, like, there's no like finality to what I'm like. I'm not burning any bridges. We're not blowing up anything, right?
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
true.
mean? The only thing that I'm doing is just not creating the new products I was planning on for this year. I'm still doing YouTube videos for now, but I want to transition the channel over to non-simple programmer anyway, because that's like where it's going. And really, I mean, the really kind of irreversible decision, if it's irreversible, is that, you know, Josh is getting the captain's hat and steering the ship towards soft skills. Like if we go that way, which it's not totally irreversible, and it's not really, and honestly, it's probably what's best for the business anyway. Because the thing that's also been like draining for me, just personally, has just been this division between, okay, so the most profitable thing we could do for a simple programmer would be to just focus on soft skills, to niche it down, just focus on our programmer clients and give them the programming type of either technical content or a combination of technical and soft skills and career development stuff, right? That's our audit, and that's the most profitable thing. But I could I'm so sick of that shit. Like, I do not have any interest in it at all. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I've said when I wrote Complete Software Developer's Career Guide, that was my final, like, this is all I have to say about this shit. I'm done. Right. I think that's why Josh sensed that. Because I had to get that out of my head, and then I've been really interested in personal development. I'm interested in improving myself, in growing, right, the kind of inner game type of stuff, and I've been doing that on the YouTube. But there's been this conflict because on both sides. One, because I'm doing this kind of random shit out here that whatever John likes to do, it's hurting simple programmer from being the best, from really growing and being the best it can as its niche. But at the same time, being attached to the name simple programmer is hurting my efforts to do, because on the YouTube channel, people are constantly saying, wow, this, if I would have known that like other people should know about this channel, but you've called it simple programmer, so it's unfortunate. You'd have 1 million subscribers, and it's kind of limiting me. So I've been torn between those two. So I think either way, I guess what I'm saying is that if I came back to simple programmer and wanted to do simple programmer work, it would be with the direction that Josh has steered. Like, I need him to steer that ship that way, because I don't have the heart to bring it to where it needs to go, because I'm just not into, you know what I mean? As a worker bee, I can contribute to that for sure. But as a leader, my vision isn't there. So my vision is this other place. So and that's not going to change. It's just that makes sense. Yeah, because I'm never going to go back to a corporate job and care about that kind of stuff. And my whole, my heart for it has always been from my career, from my experiences from that. Whereas I think Josh's heart for it, tell me if I'm wrong, Josh, but you can speak up if I'm saying something that's not true. But his is more about the actual tinkering of the business model of it, and the advertising, the marketing, right? Which is so his passion for it is coming from a different place than mine.
Right. Well, and like my interest in the topic, I'm more I have more interest in this particular topic because it's actually only one step removed from marketing. A lot of this career development stuff, and it also was so pivotal for me. I mean, like 10 years ago, I was unemployed. I spent 6 months being unemployed and then taught myself to do software development and went through all the horrible interviews, and like all this stuff is still very vivid for me. And so helping people get through that is actually really exciting for me. So, you know.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I just wanted to push back and make sure that, you know, I'm at least, you know, backing you on something that really makes sense for you. So
yeah.
No,
so I think so, and it's interesting too. You had a good point about the like having a cooling off period is probably a really good idea for me and John both. So I think like short term, I was outlining 3 different phases. I think that I would go with this, and so phase 0 would be John and I just work together for the next month or so, really like wrap up as much as we can, like figure out what things that we're doing that are just eating up a lot of time, but really not all that profitable and just kind of annoying. Cut some of that stuff, cut, you know, whatever expenses we can, just kind of tidy things up. And then phase 1, like the biggest challenge for me every time I've thought about this, like what would I do if I didn't have John, is traffic. Because John has always been the traffic engine. And so I need to get something in place to where I'm really, you know, consistently, I know I'm growing the site. So our current content strategy is working okay. The site is growing. We're making some progress. But for me to really want to invest, like for me to want for this to be a $5 million company, I think we need a more focused traffic strategy. And so I think for me, it would be rolling up my sleeves and like working on planning out content, working on SEO, and really getting that in place, and to where we're seeing, you know, pretty rapid, consistent growth, just in terms of SEO. And if I can get, we need to have, you know, we have a team of guest bloggers right now that write for free that are doing a good job for us. I need to figure out how to get people that are going to come in and be willing to do like the 10,000 word ultimate guide level of content that, you know, where something becomes the ultimate resource and everybody's linking to it and everybody's talking. Like I need to be able to figure out how to get that in place. Cause I can't always count on John's YouTube videos and the YouTube audience growing and driving us traffic. So that would be that would be kind of like phase 1 really. And then phase 2 would be during that time, I would be continuing to do basically what we're doing now. Like the products would continue to sell. That revenue would increase. The book revenue would increase. And then I could continue to do the affiliate promotions that we've been doing. And so actually we'd be growing quite a bit just during that phase. But then phase 2 would be we're starting to bring in guest experts to help create courses and products on focused soft skills topics. So I mean, like we know there's some like evergreen winners. Every time we do anything around learning, it freaking blows up. So you know, figuring out what to do, like how can we take the learning angle and the 10 steps to learn anything quickly and turn it into $1,000 course. You know, like that was huge. Interviewing, job hunting, negotiation. Like there's these pretty much go chapter by chapter through the career guide, and we could do a course on almost every single one of those. And I mean, I agree. Like I think this is the most profitable thing we can do right now with this business. I think where John wants to go long term could be actually more profitable in the long term, but it's like a whole nother business that we have to build.
Yeah, it is.
So,
no, that makes a ton of sense.
And this could be like, you know,
it sounds like we're going to be.
Go ahead.
I
was just gonna say, I see this as like, we're doing it again.
I was just gonna say, it looks like you're going to be doing you're going to be doing a lot of the same things that I'm working on. So
I'm going to be doing, it's going to be the CEO role, and Yeah, and I'm gonna have to grow a lot into this too, but I like 3 to 5 years. I see this something as I do this for 3 to 5 years, go from $500,000 to $5 million in revenue, and then we bring in a CEO to run the thing, kind of deal. Because I don't think this is not something I'd want to do forever. I'm a
Yeah, I get it.
I'm like this. John's like the first mile guy. I'm like the second mile guy, but I'm not the guy who's just gonna motor on forever doing this type of thing. But
yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is a lot of the direction that I'm going with things, and yeah, I mean, I want to build out the rest of the systems and have content strategies and do all the things that you're talking about. Of course, I didn't build it on the back of having a reputation like John does. I mean, kind of with the podcast, but not as strongly as that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are very content focused and not personality focused.
Right.
So, I'm kind of in the same stage you are, except that I'm not trying to replace a traffic source off of YouTube. I'm just trying to continue to build it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Interesting stuff. Really, I'm really curious to see how this all goes for you guys.
Me too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it'll be interesting. One of the things too, I was like, hey, maybe I should. It's funny. I mean, I'm not committing to anything at this point, right? Like, 'cause this is my problem,
right?
That I jump in, and then I'm like, it's like, oh, now I'm running 5 miles every morning. I'm supposed to stop running. Now I'm running 5. So, but maybe I'll do something like I thought about. I toyed with the idea of like, I mean, there's probably a few different things I'll do, like some real estate stuff, and I thought about going to Tibet for 3 months, and I've got some crazy ideas. But one of them was actually to build a game, to program a game. So it would be kind of funny if like after this whole thing, I come back and I'm like programming.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's like, and I'm just throwing that out there because that's one possibility. Like that could literally happen. Like it's one possibility.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, but it'll be interesting. But I think I feel good about this. I feel like this is the right direction, and it makes sense. Yeah. And like I said, like I was joking to Josh this morning. I'm like, I'm firing myself from my own company. But I kind of have to because my vision is not aligned with what's best for the company right now. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like it really is. Like I'd have to fake it to be able to do that. But Josh could do that. He's enough. He could set that direction and really get Simple Programmer where it needs to be with the focus that it needs to have. And mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that I can't do something else, but yeah, I think this is really the right way to go.
Makes sense. I'm sorry if you guys keep seeing me yawn down in the corner. I have not slept well while I've been here. So
I saw a news story about the lights.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
I saw a news story about the lights going out.
Oh, the lights going out? Yeah, that happened yesterday morning. I got an alert on my phone. I was over in the Sands Convention Center when it happened, so I wasn't here at Las Vegas Convention Center when it went out. I am here now. Westgate's the old Las Vegas Hilton that's connected to the convention center. So today, what happened was Las Vegas, I got here on Sunday night, and it's pretty much been raining nonstop until and so from what I understand, it got to the point where it just flooded one of the transformers and knocked the power out in the convention center for 2 hours. So
nice.
Yeah,
I guess all those electronics don't really need power, right? That's kind of for an electronics show.
No, not at all. Yeah. So I was talking to people. I had booth tours for the LG and Samsung booths yesterday. It's one of the perks of being media.
Nice.
But they're like, please come see our booth. For me, the stuff that they have there, it's like, okay, well, that's interesting what's coming out in commercial or consumer grade electronics, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff that's really like that fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of fun. There were some cool things like the LG booth. They had a virtual canyon with screens that are curved one way or the other, and so you walk through this tunnel, and it's got like waterfalls or canyon walls, or it was really cool. So they did some stuff like that, but like the stuff that they're trying to show off for people, for buyers and stuff. Yeah, smart devices, and smart devices were big last year. So I mean, they all have their own proprietary system now, and Google has infiltrated all these companies. So you have Google Assistant and all this stuff, but otherwise, I mean, that's the extent of it. You can have a smart, name the appliance, and made by LG or So anyway, but anyway, just cool stuff that way. But yeah, so the power went out, and I guess people just basically sat around in the convention center for 2 hours until power came back on. They had most people just stay where they were. So
wow,
it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I wasn't here. But yeah, so CES overall has been interesting. And we're talking about traffic engines, and it's funny because that's essentially what I'm hoping to get from this. Is I probably have 20 or 30 videos from different companies that do things that are interesting to my audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that they'll share it and drive traffic, and then I can use that to drive traffic back to my website. And then I've talked to a few people, and I'm seriously considering actually starting a daily YouTube show. That's just me talking about code. And so, yeah, so you guys are talking about maybe moving away from that or finding new people to do what John does. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, well, this sounds really interesting. So I just, sit in front of a camera and talk about code. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. Trying to figure that out. I think I'm probably going to wind up getting a new camera, something that's a little bit nicer, a little bit higher quality, and then just get one of those, what do they call them? Those directional mics, so that I don't have to put on a lavalier mic or something, and just nail it that way. Because if you use those, you can generally, unless there's noise coming from directly behind you, they tend to filter out a lot of the other ambient noise. So anyway, so I'm looking at some of those and just pulling something together for that. And then, I'm going and doing the interviews at the conferences anyway, so I'm going to need a setup that works one way or the other. So,
well, I hear that YouTube is
so anyway, so that's been interesting. So. And yeah, what was that?
I just said I hear that YouTube is kind of overrated in terms of building an audience.
YouTube's overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, then the other thing is that I've really been thinking about things, and I've decided that my next product has to be the product that my company consumes on how it does everything. And so essentially then, I have everything that everybody does all in systems videos, so that people just know what to do. And so then I can start to extract myself from the parts of the business that I don't need to be doing. And I can start to really make some of the more going forward. And I've been trying to do that for a while, but I've been trying to do everything else too and grow everything else. And I think I need to just focus in on one thing at a time. And if I can like get all of the podcasting processes off my plate, and then that frees up time for me to focus on the other stuff. And then if I can get all of the conference processes off my plate, then I can actually focus on what I want to do next. So courses or these shows or more shows or whatever, right? The other thing is I'm finding that like starting the React podcast, the Vue podcast, the Elixir podcast, I have processes for how to run the podcasts, but I don't have as many processes for how to start them. And so I need to nail that down too. And just be like, here's how we find hosts. Yeah. Here's how we, and so that way, I mean, it's not stuff that happens all the time. We just know what to do.
Right.
And so I don't have to reinvent it every time.
Well, and if you get
because I
that,
like to start more shows.
Yeah, I was just going to say it probably will happen all the time.
What was that?
It probably will happen all the time if you nail that down. I mean, you could be doing one of these every month or every 3 months or something.
Yeah.
Spinning up a new show.
Yeah, I could start a show every month or start a handful of shows every so often. It grows what I offer. It puts stuff out there that people want. And it also gives me a way of just testing where the interest is.
Yeah.
Right.
The show doesn't take off in 6 months. I just shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep.
So, or find somebody who wants to take it over. So anyway, all of that's pretty interesting. My watch just told me that I have an appointment in 10 minutes in the convention hall, so I've got to go. But
okay.
Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I kind of needed this clean mental break that I got this week, even though I'm working my tail off. So that'll all be good too. I can come back and I can just refocus on this stuff.
Yeah. Travel's really helpful for that.
Anyway, yeah, it is. Unfortunately, usually when I get back, I don't want to work. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
All right. Well, I've got to sign off right now and run into the convention hall, but yeah, let me know how all this stuff goes, and we'll talk next week.
All righty.
All right. Have fun.
See you, Chuck.
Check out those.
Will do. Bye. Those booth babes. There are a few booths that have them here. It's kind of funny because I'm sure the feminist brains would all explode, right? But it's effective, and the fact that it's effective, I don't blame these companies for doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later.
All righty.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
So yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. We have Chuck's blessing.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. What I like about if we do it the way that I described, then the nice thing about that is that it's actually not even that irreversible. It's not that irreversible for the first 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
If I'm especially if I focus on the traffic side of things for a while, especially, and you come back and you're like, hey, let's just do what we were doing, then we'll be just better off.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really doesn't. It doesn't become. I think where it becomes, once we're 2 years down the path, I think that's where it gets to be hard to change again. But up until that point, it's pretty reversible.
But if you're 2 years down the path and the revenue is 3 times what it is,
right? Yeah, I know.
Why would you mess with it? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And if you're 2 years down the path and it's not, the revenue is exactly what it was, then it doesn't matter. And
we didn't lose anything, right?
Yeah. So it just makes sense. It makes sense to me. Like I said, we just got to figure out the transition plan. I think, like, one of the things, like, and I'll kind of work on this too. And then I need to make like a video, like, for the whole team saying what's going on.
Yeah. Before this comes out.
Yeah. Oh, well, sort of. I don't know. I mean, it just, I don't know how many people on our team watch it. But and then I gotta get the email moved over, figure out a good strategy for that. I think maybe you just take over the Jonah Simple Programmer, or maybe we just start, like, I think maybe this is what forces us to create a customer service email address, and then to start making that transition, and then moving all of the business stuff to you. Yeah.
I mean, I think I would like to get the customer service. Like, I would like to get a customer service system in place.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful at this point. Just so we can kind of track issues and track refunds and everything like that. I think I liked your suggestion yesterday about just me handling, like, basically Rodrigo does the first level, I do a second level. And then if there's anything that we just really, really need help with or need your decision on for something, then I can I'll bring that to you, but it would be the rare exception.
Yeah.
And basically I just make decisions. So
exactly.
You know, so that way
Yeah,
you don't have to be bothered with the day-to-day.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got it totally. That's the thing is like, to some degree, I'm like, because I was thinking about this in my head too. I'm like, wait a minute. Like I would go to Europe for a couple of months. I'm not really working on. I mean, I'm doing videos, but not really working on simple programmer stuff. Why is it still weighing on me? And it's like, well, because I'm still like there. I'm still on Slack to some degree. I'm still answering email. Like it's still like, I mean, in fact, it's worse because I'm like, it's like my hands are tied and I'm watching shit go by and I'm like, I need to grab that thing. And so it actually creates a more stressful situation.
That's interesting. So
in order to really be, out of this, I have to make sure that I don't have the email.
You have to not be aware.
Yeah.
Because if you're aware and that things are not, if decisions are being made that you're aware of them and you disagree with them, then that's going to create like a lot of internal turmoil.
Exactly. It just needs to be like, and again, like I'm assuming that that'll continue on Entre Programmers, but it'll be like, oh, that's what's new with Simple Programmer. Cool.
Right.
And, and my contribution would be some input on that. And then what I'm doing with YouTube or my, whatever kind of crazy stuff that I'm doing. But that's I've got to make sure that's one thing that's been like really, in my mind is it's like it has to be like it's not just the time, it's the pressure of it. So it's like I need to be disconnected from that, at least from that part as an observer. Like I mean, it's still input, more of the advisor role, right? That's I think that you know what. If I could just be the chief storyteller.
There you go. That's perfect. We'll change your title. I love it.
But yeah, so we'll figure it all out. And I think that will work out.
I think Jason Famulero's laughing now, and so everyone else listening is going, "What is he talking about?"
That's funny.
But I mean, that's typically. Like this is more of like an absentee owner role, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the direction that it really is. Like for the business to be a business, you kind of have to, and I'll have to do that to myself at some point too. So,
yeah,
you just kind of have to do that. Getting a call on my phone here.
All right. Yeah. So I think we've got a meeting at 11:30 with I invited you to that, right?
Yeah. What is that? When is that? Oh, 11. What time? Oh, it's at 2:30, right? 2.
Yeah.
30 p.m. my time.
Okay. So that was that's O'Reilly. So they're going to try and get us to push their stuff. I think we should say, hey, can we license soft skill or license our book to?
Even better if we could license some soft skills.
Well, we can't do
we
that.
We don't actually own.
They already have the soft skills license. It's already part of Safari.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So that's our in actually, is to say, hey, you already have soft skills, like license complete software developer career guide. So
yeah. All right.
All right, cool. Should we hit the thoughts and then what?
Yeah. I'm not sure. This was all kind of my thought for the week.
I think I was thinking of one, like, I guess there's two ways it could go with it. A different thought than what we've been talking about.
Okay.
I was thinking about, someone had emailed me or, commented on one of my YouTube videos, and they're like, I watch your videos and like I try to make the changes in my life and I just like I can't do it, or like how do I actually apply and actually make the real changes in my life, like to do this stuff? It all sounds good essentially. And I was out there in the at one of my 5:45 a.m. runs this week in the cold and like fasted, like just not wanting to wake up and do this. And I thought about like, why did I do it? Like, why? What? Like, how do I do this? And my identity is like, I envision myself as the fucking bulldog who does this shit, right? And tells other people how to do this shit. So because my identity is so tied to that, like that's what pushes me through to do it, because that's who I am. Like I have decided that that's who I am. And so the action follows because of that. And so, I guess the thought is really like, if you, if you want to do something or change your life in some way, you have to envision yourself as that person. Like you have to see yourself as that role. And when you see yourself in that role, your actions will follow based on that role, as opposed to you trying to just force your actions, right? If you see yourself as lazy, for example, and you try to force yourself to do non-lazy things, you're going against the grain. But if you change your vision of yourself and your identity, which is, it's easier said than done, but if that's your focus, is changing your identity, seeing yourself as a fit person, as a healthy person, as a bulldog or whatever it is, or as a go-getter, then your actions will correspond to that. And then and sometimes that's hard to do, to change that vision of yourself. But it also works in reverse, is because actions become belief. And so if you can't change your vision of yourself, then just use your will. Like now, use your willpower, grind it out. Just fucking, like, if you run 5 miles a day, waking up at 5:45 every morning, your brain will say, oh, you're the kind of it seems like you might be a fucking badass. And then your identity will change to that. And then you'll be consistent with the identity, and you won't have to use as much willpower to push you through, because now the identity has changed because you've done the action. So it kind of works both ways, and it's kind of a circle. And so it's like, instead of saying, where do I get onto this merry-go-round, right? Because it's fucking spinning, you just jump on. It doesn't matter which point. You want to do it by the actions first, then consistently apply the actions with sheer willpower. You want to do it by the mental identity first, then you develop the mental, identity that's going to, create the actions that will follow through. But wherever you jump on the merry-go-round, once you get it spinning, then it'll keep on spinning.
I like it. So I think I already told you this story, John, but I think mine will be just a reinforcing of the idea of paying for quality. So I take this supplement. So I have very low stomach acid. So I take this hydrochloric acid supplement, and when I first started taking it, this was like last summer, I noticed a huge improvement in just how I felt, and my digestion and everything was like amazing. And then I got cheap. So I was taking this pharmaceutical grade stuff that was like, it was like $14 or 14 cents a pill. And I was taking 4 pills per meal. So it was kind of expensive. So I decided to, like, okay, maybe this works. Maybe I can save a few bucks. So I went and I got a lower brand, a lower price brand. That was about half the price. And I've been taking that for the last 6 months, and it hasn't been working. I've been taking about 10 caps per meal instead of 4. So I've been taking 2.5 times as much. So it's actually costing me more at this point than the old stuff was. And it just dawned on me a few weeks ago that this isn't working like it used to. So I went and I bought the original brand again, and night and day difference. Like I'm back to taking 4 caps, four caps. It's more expensive, but I'm actually ending up paying less for it. And it actually works. So, shocker, sometimes it's worth paying the premium price.
The problem I have with it is, it's like, I've always been all about, like, I want to find a premium thing, and pay the price for it. But sometimes it's so hard to find it. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially Amazon has really screwed this up, because whatever you shop for on Amazon, you look for the highest rating and the highest ranked thing.
Yes. Yeah, which is what I did with this.
And what it usually is it's become that's the Walmart brand of the thing. Like it's it's the shit brand, because that's what most people gravitated to because of the price and bought, and it's not the quality thing.
Yeah, and it may have
a quality filter.
Yeah, it may have worked. Like, I don't know if this stuff just is complete garbage or what, but for me, I read the reviews, and this was the brand that I bought, the lower price brand, was 4.75 stars on Amazon, you know, it had like 3,800 reviews. You know, it was not like I scrounged down and found the thing that had, you know, it had one review. It was like, you know, a third of the price and had one review, and it was in broken English. Like that wasn't what this was. But yeah, it's still. So I mean, maybe it works for some people that just don't need as much of a strong dose as I do, but it did not work at all for me. So.
Yeah, see, I was trying to figure out the same thing too with like protein powder. I was like, okay, money's no object. I just want the best protein powder there is. Like, what is the most,
right?
You know, the highest quality, and you can't find it. Like, there's no answer to that question. Like, at least that I could find. You know, there's no like premium brand that's arguably better. There must be, but I can't find it. So.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that gets premium, like. That earns the premium, like the whole idea of grass-fed whey protein is a joke from what I understand, because like by the time they extract the whey, like there's nothing in it that could possibly be there. There's nothing bad that could possibly be in it if it wasn't grass-fed. Yeah. So, so like, but that stuff will be, double the price or something. So it's hard to know when you're paying for quality sometimes versus, just irrelevant markup. But now I've undermined my whole thought. So you're pretty much screwed. Just, you know, try stuff and see what works.
Just buy expensive stuff.
Buy expensive stuff, and if it doesn't work, try other expensive stuff.
Yeah. All right. Let's see you later.
All right, see ya.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Let's